All right.
He's just that damn hot.
Alright. Right, so stream has started. There was a bit of a hiccup for a moment there. I thought it wouldn't actually start, but we got it. Whew. Okay. So, those who can log into Foundry Forge. Those who wish to partake are free to also get Sirenscape running now if they want to. Just to give folks a chance to actually do all the signing in silliness, I will move us over to the intro video and we can then get cracking, as it were. I know we've got Sean, who apparently will be coming along a little later due to surprise guests, so we'll forgive him this once. Until then, I'm just going to kick the intro video off. We'll see you in a couple of seconds, folks. Stand by. Alright, welcome folks to the first Navis episode for 2025. I am MJ the GM, your host for these next couple of hours, and with me are the majority of the USS Navis crew. We're just down our ops officer for the time being. Hopefully Sean will be back with us. But we do have the man who was out on the sailing the seas being a not-so-pirate.
I mean, as far as we know, he could have been.
Not that he'll tell us, yes. For legal purposes, he's pleading the fifth.
I did get in the hot tub, though.
Just the sight of him going off with the hot tub over his shoulder. Anything to declare, sir? Nope.
That's probably why he didn't make the news. He just robbed a rich yacht just for the hot tub. Left everything else, just walked off for the hot tub.
Just because he could.
Pharmacy. They have no regulations on their pharmacies, so you can just buy whatever you want, then bring it back in the country.
Damn.
I got like 2 things of penicillin, some other antibiotics.
Wow.
Some salt, tramadol.
So, if Mike doesn't appear next time, we know why.
Who's in prison?
Alrighty. Right, so do we have everybody? Like we said, Sean's not here, so that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. So that's everybody.
I've just summarised our conversations so far today.
Long exasperated sigh. Well, yeah, that also expresses it as well.
The expression you're looking for is yes.
Now, before we get on, I'm not going to be plugging these because A, I'm sponsored by Humble Bundle, or B, I'm sponsored by either of these guys. I'm just doing it because it's slightly cool. And because Humble Bundle, therefore, gives 10% to charity. The first one I'm going to bring to notice is Invisible Sun. This was something I didn't expect to see on Humble Bundle, because Invisible Sun, even in its PDF form, is $80.
Yes, I've wanted that for years.
And now you can get it on Humble Bundle, as well as Invisible Sun. You can get most of the additional books, including the which one of them is the adventure in Kiridan of the Path, and the prop making kit, which is just a PDF showing you how to do it, all in one bundle. So I've got the... for Mike's benefit, I'll put the bundle link in here. And also on Humble Bundle is, well, Night's Black Agents, which is spies versus vampires. And if ever I needed a reason to put Roger Moore versus Christopher Lee one more time, it's Night's Black Agents, because it's spies versus vampires. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get this.
Yes, I'm a nasty little temptress, aren't I?
Yeah.
And again, as I believe before, we quoted John Oliver. We're not sponsored. We're just fans.
Now, I was originally going to get Night's Black Agents, but I figure I've now got so much, including Invisible Sun, that I really shouldn't get any more, so I'm backing away. But everybody else who's probably weaker than me when it comes to temptation, it was just there, just in case you wanted it. So,
Well, I mean, let's just say, I've been waiting for this to appear for about 10 years now, at least.
Night's Black Agents or Invisible Sun?
Fun.
Ditto.
Definitely.
It is a weird one, but it is also, for those who are RPG aficionados, Invisible Sun is not easy to get into. The core rulebook is spread into 4 books, and it's quite the hefty read, so make your own decisions, folks. In any case, if we've got everybody, then the first thing we need to do, of course, is science.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's tip us over into the bridge. Enough about me talking about RPGs. Let's do some science. Now, excuse me, last time we were about, there were at least 2 science projects, one of which was concluding Dr. Bertram's attempt to make an entirely organic EVA suit. And Ori was also working on creating 3D hologram interfaces for the LCARS system. So, I suppose the first thing we need to do is to, well, who wants to go first, Ori or Bertram?
I would let the good doctor go.
Okay.
Actually, do you want to go first, Ori? Because I've just got a note that I'm about to receive a package.
Okay, then.
Yeah, no.
With
There's
incredibly good
somebody at
timing.
the door. Somebody at the door. Alright then, so...
Bags, I'm going to be so annoyed.
Last, Ori was looking into holography as the field to... oh, was he? Was it? No, holography was one of the avenues of investigation. Another one was warp field theory, another one was computer interface, and another was quantum physics. Quantum physics is the current one being investigated. That was it, and we were coming towards the end. Now, quantum physics is a focus that Ori has. Does your boy Mono? He's got quantum mechanics, which is close enough. Anybody else that Ori wants to bring in on helping him with his project?
Well, who's willing to help?
Who's willing to help? It is mostly science, although a degree of engineering will come into this. But anybody with quantum-related shenanigans can feel free to get involved, as will anyone with any knowledge of computers, really, because that's what this is all about.
Can Unit Hello help?
Unit Hello can definitely help. Let's see, what has Unit Hello got? Quantum computing. Well, there you go, right from the start. As well as Tilical technology, naturally. So Unit Hello can definitely help if you want to bring Unit Hello onto it.
Yeah, if everybody's okay with that.
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Alright.
Unit Hello.
Unit Hello. Mono also has quantum mechanics, so could necessarily help. So, Ori's boy. Anybody else think they're support characters or main characters could lend a hand with this?
Not on the research, but I could. Well, Vipers could pull his reputation with fleet logistics to actually make it happen elsewhere. That's the next stage problem.
Yes, but that is something worth considering.
Yes.
As soon as it's proven to work, then you'll have an inroad with getting it started to be deployed fleet-wide, so interesting. Okay. Just those two then for now, or does anybody else want to jump on?
Can mono help, or just only 2 people can?
I like to lift my limitation of how many people can contribute during the downtime, because it feels more like the crew getting together to have a nice little science meeting. So I tend to lift the restriction. The restriction of 5 dice is still there, so you've got 4 right there, so you could conceivably have one more person help if you wanted them to.
Oh, I think this was enough to fail.
That's the spirit!
Lose
All
big.
right, then. Let's see. Sean's not with us yet, I don't think, is he? No. So, Sean's not here to take over unit. Hello. Naturally, Mike is taking Ori. Alex, do you fancy being mono?
Can do. Where is he?
Cool cools.
There it is.
Please.
And Webby, do you fancy being unit? Hello.
Yeah, yeah, can be. What do you
But
need?
it's reason plus science, isn't it?
So it's going to be reason and science from all 3 of these guys using their quantum-related foci. And we're just seeing how many successes we can rack up. Mono, none. Okay.
Did we say that Hello has a focus?
Yes, quantum computing, so it is the kind of thing we're looking at, so... Oof. Okay, 1 success. Nicely done, Webby and Unit Hello. So that leaves Ori himself. 5 and a 6. Marvellous. 4 successes in total, which means that drives it up to a... Ooh, so close. So very, very close to completing this avenue of investigation. Okay. Groovy. You're pretty much done with the drawing board stuff in this then. It's just a case of running these simulations and seeing if what you've computed will actually work. The one thing that keeps coming up in your investigation, though, is actually something historical. It turned out that a good many of the original Starfleet ships did have some level of holography up until the first encounter with between Kirk and the Romulans. Because it was discovered that the Romulans were actually tapping into the holographic messages that were being sent across subspace. So eventually...
Crimp in things.
What was that, sorry?
We can see how that would put a crimp in things.
Yes, which was why Starfleet then went a bit more retro with it, which was why a lot of communication was then done via just view screens and the like. So less data was being sent, less conspicuous data was being sent over subspace. So that was the mainstay of why holography was taken away as a communication medium. Whether or not that translated into meaning that ship systems were easily hackable as well when they were holographical is unclear, but it's a potential avenue to keep in mind when you do eventually get around to implementing this the holographical LCARS interface. Probably worth looking into making sure that it is robust and unhackable. But that is a tomorrow problem.
Yay! Those are my favorite.
That's the favourite type of problems. Tomorrow. That's a future Ori problem. But for now,
He'll get it worked out.
yeah, exactly. So it's a consideration worth keeping in mind for later. considering with a consideration as to what avenues to investigate next. So that brings us back to Dr. Bertram. So Gareth, you back?
Yep, I'm back.
Did your parcel arrive?
It did, although
Awesome.
I only know because I watched them on my cam, waited for them to ring the doorbell, and they just dropped it and walked off.
Hovering
Yeah,
like a
sounds about
spectre.
right.
Yep.
I just pictured Gareth just hunched on the top edge of a door, like a bat or something, waiting to pounce.
He's like God. He was like, my precious.
I absolutely refute the allegation that I slinged to the shadows and stole that poor man's soul for not delivering it properly. Why would you even suggest that?
Never occurred
Well,
to me,
it's
not once.
Tuesday.
All right then. So
Matt, I have
Before-
a question.
yes, of course.
When we were doing the thing where we put like when we use our values and things like that,
Yes.
or that I don't remember.
That's going in your personal logs, which is in the character notes section.
Okay, thank you.
So there should be a logs area to the notebook, which should allow you to note down things like when you spend determination and what value you used in order to justify the expenditure. Or, more appropriately, if a value gets you to behave in a certain, gets your character to behave in a certain fashion that traces back to another episode. Those are the really good ones to look out for, because they are callbacks, and callbacks will get you better character advancement. So, yeah. Nevertheless, moving back to Dr. Bertram, we were investigating, we were using genetics as the current avenue of investigation, and
Yep.
we weren't far off. So who would you like to bring in on this? Obviously, it's going to be reason and medicine, so those who have medicine are going to be the better at delivering results.
Guess there's Latif and Bravo.
Yes, yes.
So Bravo can apply his medical expertise, and Latif can apparently threaten the project until it agrees of its own accord to go.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. She is very intimidating, that one.
Yeah.
But we've also got a little surprise for Dr. Bertram.
What?
Hopefully this works. Welcome to the new Deck 8. They replaced the Arboretum with the Botanical Research Laboratory.
Dun dun dun.
Why
So
is
they've-
Jenny already there?
Jenny is always there. She's a botanist.
Suspicious.
She's
want a
got
hot tub.
botany. They want a hot tub. What do you think this is over here? It's the hot tub for the plants.
Yeah, that's where
Maybe.
the spare hot tub went.
Right there.
Yeah, you were missing a hot tub. Turns out Bertram nicked it for his plants. There you go.
'Cause they called me mad in hot
Yeah, I don't remember sanctioning Deck 8 to be transformed into a hydroponic sort of like suite.
I've got the captain's signature. The fact that it happened to be timed the last medical checkup where she was under anaesthetic for certain things is completely coincidental.
No,
Yeah,
I thought it
I-
was.
Signed it off so Vibers didn't have to go to any Moss lectures.
Yeah, it was a bribe.
Not a bribe, it's just an understanding.
It's a bribe.
I mean, Viper's just assumed correctly, as it were, that Bertram would be so sort of like going, he'd forget to actually make next week's Moss lecture.
Well, I thought it was time to
Don't
give us
tell
a
him.
nice.
It's been 5 weeks since he's run one.
I thought it was time to give us a nice visual representation of what Dr. Bertram's lab probably looks like, considering the sheer amount of stuff that has to get done. What with creating the radiation-eating moss, and now, of course, the EVA suit moss, and the organic template for scaffolding for healing broken bones and stuff. I mean, and not to mention the Prototaxites Stella Vittoria samples. So,
Yep.
It's all
And
got to
of
go
course,
somewhere. And this is
and of course,
totally...
seeing
Go on.
as I say, seeing as we keep on making different versions of torpedoes, obviously the hay fever torpedo is incoming.
But this is also a total thank you to Chipeku Maps, because I'm on their Patreon list now, and this was the latest one, and I thought this is perfect.
Thank you, Pacheco Maps.
I couldn't
this
say
top
no to
part
this
very
map, so thank you, Chipeku, yes. It's awesome.
It is.
So, yes, you've got Nurse Bravo and Nurse New Teeth who are here to help out, so let's see, who hasn't rolled? That would be Navis. And Gareth, of course, who's going to run that, so who else wants to roll with... I mean... Alex or Mike or Webby?
Sure.
As long as it's not morality roll for Natif, we're all good.
Morality.
Okay, so let's have Mike. Do you fancy being Nurse New Teeth, the Vulcan? She is giving us just a plain old reason and medicine check with no focuses. Nurse Bravo... Same thing, really, because we're using genetics, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it's just if we can get... Who fancies taking Bravo? Let's have Navis be Bravo.
She's using reason and medicine.
Yes, please. Just one dice. Same for Bravo. Reason and medicine, just one dice, no foci.
Okay.
And Bertram, 2 dice with focus. So, ooh, it was a 5, but it rolled over. It's still a success. Same goes for Nateeth. So, yeah, and we've already got Bertram's.
Yep.
3. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, closing in on the end. So you're now out of, in a similar fashion to Orai's project, we are now out of the drawing board phase and onto the actual running simulations phase. So let's see how that turns out. But for the meantime, back to the breach.
To the breach.
Actually, I lie, because we are now moving from the breach to Webby's favourite. The Dominion War campaign page.
Oh dear.
Have we got another Miranda back yet?
Well, let's start with the good news. So, this is what, the second?
Second?
Second? Third?
Third, isn't it? I think it's
Third. Third
Third is the word.
campaign turn. Thanks to all your efforts, we have gained 6 progression, which means you can spend 5 of those to get something from the progression table, which I'm presuming is what you want to do.
I mean, where is the progression table?
I've already rolled on it, as it turns out, and what we got was... Ding! Focused resources. A resource asset of your choice increases all power levels by +1. So that'll be something nifty to keep in mind. So, all of your current assets are up yonder way. And these represent the assets currently available to the 20th Fleet. So you've got Cunning Ploy, which counts as a one-use resource, but Curtis Des Moines, Commander Cottrell, Rayner, Captain Fortok, and the Randar's Curiosity are all resources that can be used again and again. So, as happened last time, we have a number of points of interest. Now, the one at the bottom is today's episode, so it doesn't need allocating anything. The rest are points of interest that can be dealt with. Now, I will note that if you do successfully deal with an exploration mission, it will earn you 3 progression points. And of course, you earn progression points from successful completion of the episode. So
yeah, but if we don't sort the first two, they're just going to continue to escalate to a point at which they're impossible to achieve.
there's that. So you can pile assets onto a problem, and if you manage to do the top one, you do get 2 extra progression points. So something to consider. So, how would you like to try and do this, bearing in mind you've also got the focused resources row going as well? So let's see. The top one is a military 3, science 4, so you'd either need 3 successes on a military roll or 4 successes on a science. The Randall's curiosity isn't great at military. Captain Ralph Fortok is kind of passable, but Rayner is not bad. Commander control.
Well, we're going to have to throw to achieve any of even the first 2. We are going to have to throw quite a few things at it because we've proven even throwing 3 things at it with a 1 in 4 chance die winning it, you don't do it.
Cunning Ploy has got military
because
13,
the odds
4.
on this are so bad. Even though we did discuss that it does change it, still the odds of you actually rolling a success are low.
So then, what do you want to do? I mean,
Cunning Ploy is a single use.
It is.
You said 13-4, so it means if you roll under a 4, you get 2 success.
Correct. And if you use focus resources with it, you could up it to a 14-5. If you want to blow your wad that way.
No, look, we'd roll a 20, so...
There is that. There's a certain amount of the luck chance involved. So, yeah, I mean, you can go for that one, or you can go for one of the other ones if you think you want to do the ones that are somewhat easier.
We can't. We can't afford not to, because these 2 at the top are just going to continue to get worse. They are almost at a point where it's impossible to do them. Science 4 is almost impossible. So we've got to try and get those 2 sorted, because otherwise they're just going to continue to escalate.
So then, folks, what are we thinking? I mean, you can have... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, I'm willing to go with what Webby's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, you check one of the assets as being the primary, like you do anything else. So you roll 2 dice for that, and you can have 3 other things assisting in order to roll a total of 5 dice.
Cunning Ploy, first one.
Okay, I can move that.
And throw focused resources at it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then military, med 13, med 7, med 10. Fortok.
Fortok. Okay.
And Rayner, I'd say.
Okay.
And then we throw the other 3 at the second one, because that's medical 3, so it's got medic 10, medic 10, medic 13.
So it makes sense to have the medic 13 lead. Yeah. Medic 10, medic 13, medic 10. Yeah, okay. Everybody happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I know happy is a subjective term there, but what the hell? Oh,
I'm not
right
against this. I say it's just the odds. They've sold it saying, "Oh look, the chances of success are low," but it's not. It's based purely on your first dice roll. Your first dice roll has to be a 2 for you to get anywhere close to achieving based on odds.
So I suppose it's time to positively think for those positive rolls then. Alright then. So, if we're going with the military in order to achieve 3 successes, then I'm guessing we're getting Cunning Ploy to be our primary.
Yep.
And we're adding focused resources to it. So, Webby, do you feel lucky enough to do that initial one?
Why not?
2d20. We're looking for 50, 14 and under, hopefully a 5 and under if we can get them. Come on, I believe. Look at that! 1, 2, 3 successes right off the bat.
Hooray! We might actually achieve one.
So that's 3 successes on a military 3, so you've already got what you needed. So, can I have... Alex, can I get you to roll me 1d20, please? We're looking for 12 and under.
This is where we get all 20s now. 3 successes, 3 complications. Woo!
Don't care if it solves the problem.
No, it won't, because it caused an escalation.
We'll see, we'll see.
I did that wrong.
You did. Try that again. It's fine.
Slash D20.
So I just saw 20 for a moment and I was about to groan.
No, it's fine. He just put the right bit. Right, that is not a success. Okay, but it's not a failure either. It's not a complication. You've still got what you need. Which means we got one last one to do. So let's have Davis. Just roll me a d20, please. We're looking for 10 and under. 8.
That's
4
under
successes, which means you got 1 point of campaign momentum because you got 1 over what you needed. And campaign momentum can be spent in the same way that regular momentum can in order to buy extra dice for a roll. So that is that one done. You have managed to take care of a tactical situation and gained 2 extra progression points right off the batty boo. Nice.
Unfortunately,
Very
that is
well
our cunning ploy and our focused resources gone.
Yep.
Yep. But
But we did it by the power of black market alone.
you didn't. Wink, wink,
No, it was
nudge,
a cunning
nudge.
plot. It was a cunning plan.
It was a
as
cunning
fox
play.
That has a degree in cunning from the University of Oxford.
Alright, so by the looks of this, if we're going the medical one second, Gatrell's got the highest medicine.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask for Gareth to roll 2d20 for that. And we get... Oh, look at that! 3! So you've already done it. Whatever else is extra.
Yeah, but the complications come thick and fast.
Don't worry, I sent it.
I have faith.
I sent it some emergency moss.
Emergency boss.
Next, I would like Mike to roll me 1d20 for the Randar's Curiosity, please. We are looking for 10 and under.
Okay. Just as anybody, or as well?
Just, you can roll as anybody if you really want to, or you can just type /R space 1d20 in the bottom right input chat box.
Oh, great. Hold on.
No problem. Whichever way is easiest for you.
1d20.
So, /R space 1d20. Enter. There we go, and it's a... it's a 1! That's 2 more! You guys are crushing this. So which leaves us... Yeah, it leaves us with, Webby. Your friend, Curtis Des Moines.
Oops, didn't mean to do 2.
We'll take the 16 then in that case, shall we? Just
16 was technically the first one. So
exactly,
yeah.
so we'll ignore the 20. We don't need the 20. 16 was a not, but you already got 5 successes on something you needed 3 for, so that's 2 more campaign momentum for an extra 3, and you solved that really big medical emergency in the hijack system. Well done, well done, well done, well done. Now, as has been pointed out, unfortunately, we do have other things that are not being addressed. And as such, we're going to have a look at what happens with that one. So the first one is a tactical urgency 2. So the problem is spreading. The players must roll on the escalation table and the intensity goes up to 3. So I'm going to increase the intensity. So the difficulty hasn't gone up, but I am now going to ask Alex, since you were in the vicinity of the rollable tables anyway, if you can go to rollable tables and the campaign rules folder. We are looking for the number 13, escalation.
Lucky number 13.
And hit the roll button and let's see what we get. Enemies entrenched. The Games Master selects a tactical point of interest. All difficulties are increased by 1. Now I select one.
Well, you can either have the first one or the bottom one.
Yeah, do the main campaign one, because we'll achieve in the main campaign one.
Well, I was just thinking that, yeah.
You're going to make it more difficult for the Navis.
It's a bit of
More
no. They
cubes
sent in the
Yeah,
Navis
yeah.
because it's more difficult.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Oh no, there's a Borg cube there. Oh well, don't worry. The Navis will take it out on its own again.
Oh, you know, been there, done that, you know.
Yeah,
Give
been
me
there, done that.
Give
got
me
the
some
t-shirt.
credit.
Yeah, come on, tactical cube, please. You know, we want to move on.
Right you are, right you are, right you are. Got it. I'll key up that next. Give me a second. I mean, it's going to be completely out of left field, a tactical cube coming right out of nowhere, but hey, I'll make it work somehow.
We've all got
That's
mustaches.
my problem with defeating a tactical cube, though. We're all out of Keths.
Oh, yeah, poor Gareth. Okay, I'll just leave myself a little note in that regard. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so the good news is that that's other tactical point of interest has gone up in urgency, but not gone up in difficulty. What happens when you don't resolve an unknown?
Nobody knows.
If an unknown point of interest was failed or not investigated, it is removed from play. There we are. Just goes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alright then, so exploration. A region of space. Well, it's not explored. So unresolved exploration. If an exploration point was failed or not investigated, the chance to resolve it effectively will begin to fade. So increase of the problem's difficulties by 1 for the first time this happens. If it happens the second time, it just gets removed. So you still have a chance to do this exploration mission, but it's a science 4 now. So you can still get more progression points.
Exploration mission, or is it just somebody's picked up the signals and bought the cell?
Well,
Wow.
guys,
Alright, going, sorry! Meddled where I shouldn't have.
well, somebody is working out my street, and now I don't have internet.
Okay.
Damn them.
Damn them, and all their kind. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, the good news is, for the first time in 2 turns, you now have, in your next turn, you return to the regular number of points of interest. You've had 1 extra each time so far. So, there is an unfortunately, because, like I have noted before, on every campaign turn, I randomly roll to see which of the points of interest get an event happen to them, and an event can be either a positive or a negative. And if you had sent one to the an advanced enemy ship has returned to active service, you would have actually have gotten a positive, as Federation scout vessels would have been in the region, and it added 1 to military and science power ratings for that mission. Never mind. Next time. But the good news is that you have taken out those 2 very big tactical missions from before and have gained extra points on top of. So let us resolve this campaign point. So we still haven't got the progression points from succeeding at the current episode. That'll have to wait, but you've got 3 unspent campaign momentum that you don't need to spend, so that goes from campaign momentum to progression. So you've already got 6. My God. So, the way progression works is that sometimes you get stuff that works immediately as you draw it, so you don't really draw it until the start of a campaign turn. Some progressions, though, can be saved so that they can apply later. But that is all for later, which means at the end of this turn you have done all of that, we've advanced those, and you get 2 new assets. A Federation diplomatic talent, and, this'll make you laugh, the IKS Mapui!
Mapui.
And here I was hoping for another Miranda or Ober.
So you wanted either something for Webby to rail against or a battle canoe, right? Gotcha.
Congratulations, you have a flotilla of Danubes. Woo! Have a skill roll of 1010.
It's okay, Captain. I traded you these for 3 more Ober.
Oh yay, an Oberth is a 2-0.
So you've got Captain Akul and the Mapui available now as a fleet asset, and their military rating, as you would expect, is pretty dang high, and their personal isn't bad either.
Their engineering isn't very good, though.
Meow.
The claws come out.
Don't they have a hello?
Captain Akul did put in request to have remote drones. So, yeah, they quite possibly do at this point. But they are, if they're hellos, then that means they've all been trained in the Nova method of operations. So,
which is typical. Yeah, which is typical to the Klingons.
So it's no difference, really, when you think about it, is it? There we are. So that was actually a nicely successful campaign turn. Well done, folks. Very well done. Ooh. Okay.
We're number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully that was just the start of a trend, an upwards trend, as you start gaining more and more assets. So, groovy. Right, before we go into the episode proper, anything that anybody wants to note? Any questions need to be asked? No. Alrighty.
What is that growth on Viber's neck?
Hey?
No.
Not a growth, that's my head.
Oh, sorry.
You usually get
I was
confused.
worried it may have come from the hot tub.
That's either his freckle or his rank pip.
No, it's still singing into a saucepan.
Hey, at least he's happy. Look at that big old grin.
I mean, no one's ever questioned the Tude as to why he wears a frying pan on his head.
And why Vibers carries around a very similar frying pan to sing into, so, you know.
It's actually
Coincidence?
the same frying pan, but for a different point in the space-time continuum.
It's the same pan. It's like it came from the port nacelle. There is only one pan, but it is in 2 places at once.
But they should
Beautiful.
never ever meet, because the same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time, so... Otherwise, kaboom!
I just assumed both pictures were taken in series, and the pan on Latude's head is due to his comment about the singing.
So he was trying. What you're saying is that Vibers' singing was getting on his nerves so much he tried putting a pan over his head to block out the singing, but it didn't go all the way down to his ears, and yet he thought it was such a fashion statement.
More like the comment. The response to the comment was the pan being used to sing into was then stuck on his head, and it's not come off since.
The medical procedure to remove it was too risky, and therefore he just decided to go with it. And folks were wondering why I used something like Mythic to improve my improv game.
It's more like the medical procedure involves explaining to the doctor why the pan is stuck on his head. And Luchude doesn't want to do that.
Alright. So, let's have a good old look at what we need to do next. So, we got that done, and so now we get into the meat of the mission. What mission do you have today? Well, in order to carry out that, or at least start that mission, Webby, if you will.
Nah, I'm on break. Davis's turn.
Alright, first officer's like then.
You guys.
Go on then.
We need a change, yeah. It's not
Yeah,
like
sure. Because maybe Vibers was on the bridge at that particular point, so let's change this.
Well, you know what? We should say that it's Night Crow, so it's Claw. Oh, if you go there, Matt. With a voice change.
Good. No, you've made one change.
Okay. First officer's log, stardate 51073.8. We've received an automated distress call from the Tondu system, home of a small black hole. Long-range sensors have picked up a substantial matter-antimatter explosion in the area, and we're changing course to investigate despite the danger. Since it's happened on a night shift, we'll wake the captain up in the morning halfway.
We're one route to a black hole. Yay!
Another one! Vibers, couldn't you say okay to something different? Alright,
It's
so...
a distress signal, Captain. We answered all of them unless they come from a Dominion ship, in which case we turn up with the salvage bags.
Actual bags that say salvage, but it's actually got swag crossed out. I was going to do something. Oh yes, that was it. So, anybody who has a look at the Navis's the ship character sheet will see that under mission directives you have obey the prime directive and respond to the distress call. So, just to point out that the mission's directives work very similarly, if not almost identically, to your own character's personal values. You can use mission directives also as an excuse to spend determination points, and mission directives can also be challenged in a very similar fashion to a character's values. In this instance, I don't see why you would want to challenge either of those, but just to bring it to folks' attention. If you don't think that maybe you've got a character's values-related excuse to draw upon your character's determination, you can always try and draw upon the mission directives.
You don't know us.
Clearly!
Mr. Alright, what do we know about the Tondu system?
Not a damn thing.
Well, if you...
The database just says don't bother. Stay away.
Harmless.
I'm on break.
He's on break too, right, gotcha.
Everyone's unionised.
This is beta shift, so yeah, it's the first officer and what few want to actually... I don't mind not sleeping. No, if you want some easy momentum to add to the momentum pool, then I'm happy for folks to give me a control and science check to have a look at the database to see what the Starfleet database has to say about the Tondu system.
Let's do it.
Please roll a please roll a fail now. So it is just stay away, black hole. Lol 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 lol.
Right, so you're gonna give up, and the mission's gonna be a failure. Gotcha.
We don't want the rest of Starfleet to look bad.
Yeah, we need to fail occasionally, you know. We can't have like this 1000% success rate. Every mission that Navis has been on, they've been completely successful, apart from the Tondu system. Your impeccable record is stained forever.
No, it's a tactical thing, because if it's something that's going to put us off or defeat us, everyone will avoid it.
Yeah, it's a black hole.
We just move the Federation behind the Tondu system, and it'll be our bulwark.
So, when you succeed at a task assisted by the ship's sensors or computers, or a task using a tricorder, you may ask one additional question as if you had spent momentum on obtain information. Okay. What
If there's
you...
any question.
Yeah, so what that means is after I give you a brief about what you learned from the main computer about the Tondu system, you are free to ask a question that I have to answer truthfully. So... let me see then. So, what you have in the Federation database about the Tondu system is that it was home to a modest but sustainable business empire, a non-Federation humanoid race who apparently focus their efforts on science, the arts, and trade. So, that's the information you get out of the main computer. Is there a question you would like to ask?
Not much information.
Well, can anybody else suggest a question to ask then?
Yeah, go ahead, y'all. Do it.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to come from just you. It can come as a prompt from somebody else if you can think of a question you can think of asking.
Sorry, my mind is just completely gone on this one. Did you say we're responding to a distress signal?
Yes.
Was it specifically tagged what type of ship or sent it, or?
They were
It's an automated one. So...
Yeah. If it's a black hole, I would like to understand what the gravimetric issues are within the region.
So, in the frame of a question, what are the gravimetric?
Okay, so, yeah. So, are there any stellar? Not stellar. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all right. It's not just me forgetting words today.
My brain's not working tonight.
Mike, you had a suggestion.
Well, I was just saying that obviously we're an enlightened species. You know, if they were advanced with science and the arts and culturally.
Mm-hmm. So it seems.
Did they leave any sort of other records we could tap into, or?
Is that your question, or would you rather go for a rewording of Webby's question in regards to stellar phenomena or stellar threats?
I think Webby's leaving.
Okay.
Webby, am I right in thinking your question is more around what do we get from the navigational hazards and what else has been reported?
Yes.
That's two questions.
Yeah. Okay, so what are the gravimetric disturbances within the area surrounding the black hole?
All right. Everybody good with that question?
Yep.
Awesome sauce. So, okay. The gravimetric disturbance in system is consistent with a black hole of a regular yellow star having gone supernova, essentially. But I will give you this for... Oh, hang on. Once per scene, when you ask 2 or more questions using obtained information, you can immediately create a trait. So if you want, you can spend another point of momentum to ask me another question.
That's up
Two crabs. Yeah, two crabs simply walk sideways. Yeah!
No, they don't. Excellent. So there we are. However, the question has to be in regards to the information that you are obtaining. So crabs had nothing to do with this, so you're not getting... That doesn't count as your second question.
People think we walk sideways.
Yeah, to the Tondu people.
Do the Tondu
Are they
people...
crabs? Is that your question?
Are they space crabs?
Are the Tondu people crabs? Are you sure that's what you want your question to be?
Oh, crabs people.
Crabs people. Well, that's a philosophical question.
What was the second part of your question, Darius, that you said?
Mike was just piping up as well just then. What were you going to say, Mike?
I was just saying, I think first, does the crew want to spend the other momentum to ask another question?
Oh, yeah.
Good point. Because then you can get a trait representing your theoretical understanding of the subject.
If you a trait, it's worth doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
Even
good.
if we don't have a sensible question to ask, it's still worth doing it just to get you your trait so you can reuse it later.
Cool beans. That's a good choice. I like that. So, a second question in relation to the information you've so far been given about the Tondu system. Because you did have 2 questions earlier.
What? Right, so we've asked about navigational things, and we got told about the black hole and that.
So, yeah, basically, gravitational anomaly in system appears to be that consistent with a black hole.
Yeah, do we want to then look at to see whether there is anything we can do to mitigate the gravitational anomaly?
Seriously, a question, but is there meant to be a black hole here?
Ah. I think that's not a stupid question at all.
That's good.
I was just sitting there thinking, I was going, wait a minute, no one's asked the obvious. Is it meant to be here?
Was it there when we looked last week?
That's
Just
pretty
like
much it. It's
that.
like, was this always a black hole in our records?
I like that. Edward's just like, wait, was there always a black hole here? And everyone else just slaps their forehead with like, damn, why didn't I think of that? How do we now pretend that Edwards didn't come up with that question? And not make us all look stupid.
The official report is that it was someone else.
I'm happy to give credit to someone else for that promotion I've been asking for. Yeah.
What was
Nice.
that? Demotion? Okay, of course, Ensign.
Okay.
Welcome back, Ensign Kim.
Alright, so there was going to be a second question.
I do think that is actually quite a good question.
Yeah.
Was
there always?
I mean, it would be pretty weird if the Tondu people are living in a space,
Exactly.
an area of space with a black hole. Just like,
Exactly.
So
Yes.
we checked the navigational records and checked for all the rest, and then now we're just going, no, cartography. This isn't new, is it?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. So if we go with the very obvious question was, that black hole, is it supposed to be there? Or, has it always been there? The question is, no. Records show at last time that they had a very healthy star.
Oh, God! Fibers, you're in charge. Bloody Tiller cow.
Andrews throws up her hands in frustration, just walks out.
You know what? No,
You
you
know.
go, Monaco. Take that go.
I'll be down at the bar. Okay.
If it is still a cow, then it's going to be hilarious that Edwards was the one that made the question. It's all like, oh yeah.
Dr. Bertram to Captain Andrews, is this a bad time to ask about more resources for the botany research lab?
Right then, this introduces the obvious next question for myself, which is you can now, thanks to Orai's rapid hypothesis, create a trait representing your theoretical understanding of the subject of, well, the black hole and its gravitational anomalies. So, what kind of trait would you like to create? What are you thinking?
Black hole powered hot tub.
Yes.
Well, as in a not exactly a hot tub related trait, but at the very least, maybe some kind of trait that you could add to the ship so that you are not as affected by the gravitational anomaly of the black hole. Since you've gone to the trouble of, looking at it and studying it, so I'd be happy with that being an example of a trait you could use. Unless you can think of something else.
Can we create a reverse multimodal tachyon pulse with the deflector beam?
Oh,
Yes, you probably could, actually. Why you would want to becomes my next salient question.
Because this is Star Trek. We saw all our bottles with technobabble.
I don't think we can bounce a graviton particle beam off the main deflector dish.
Who are you, and what have you done with the real Vipers?
Matt.
Right, so, essentially, you now have the ability to freely create a trait.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear.
We can hear.
my internet was going in and out. I kind of missed the overview of what's actually going on with the black hole.
So essentially, I have given an example of what kind of trait you could create with Ori's rapid hypothesis. Which...
What's actually in the system, and there's a society. Is society still alive?
Well, you haven't actually run a scan of the Tondu system yet, so you don't know.
Black hole in the Tondu system.
You know there is a black hole in the Tondu system now, yes.
It's causing a problem.
It wasn't there previously.
Well, what is previously? When? How long?
Last Starfleet records are probably going back a year or so.
Okay, that is concerning.
Here's the last transmission that we got from their local Starfleet office.
And for those who aren't
it is.
following
It's
along,
automated.
this is...
It's the automated distress signal, which just picked up a minute ago.
Yes, so like Navis stated on the Discord channel, Black Hole is new, it's not in the records. So, I mean, if you want to, you can hang on, you could hold off on creating the trait now and just come up with it later when you think you've got something that might be useful, or a time when you think creating a trait in relation to the information you have just gotten would be useful. So,
I ask some more questions.
You've got one momentum in your pool.
Add a character question.
Oh, okay.
So, are we in the system?
Not yet. You are in transit.
So, there was a distress signal or something we're following up on? I'm sorry.
Correct.
It kept...
Yes, we're following a distress signal.
And how long ago was that the signal transmitted? Do we know?
Ooh, at least an hour ago, give or take.
Okay. At least. There's no way to determine. Was there signal degradation or...
There was some signal degradation due to interference from the singularity, yes, as expected, but...
It's probably dilated. So that hour was probably a lot longer.
Have we done long-range scans of the system yet? Is it possible? No. We know there's a black hole.
Yes. So if you want to gain some extra momentum, now might be a good time to use sensors to have a good old look.
Good idea. What does everyone want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a good plan.
Yes.
There is another thing we can get someone doing in the background as well.
Go on.
Which is a star turning into a black hole. I'm sure that would cause things to need to do a course corrections and changes because of gravity in place. So, in other words, I'm ripping off generations and the how you track the nexus.
Aren't there also time sort of like messing around black hole because of the way it bends space-time?
Mm-hmm.
And do size of the black hole. It could be a micro black hole for all we know. And that
technically all black holes are micro.
Yeah.
It's just the size of the swirl.
You knew what we meant.
Well, now would be a good time to run sensors then to try and get an idea of the current situation. So, yes, by all means, Ori is usually on sensors station, so we can get a control and science check from Ori using his focus of sensors. We can also have Alex as the Navis. Navis?
Well.
Yeah, as the Navis. 4 successes, my god.
He's
Never
well
mind.
dressed.
I've got to remember how to get to... There it is, Navis. We're not on we're on second edition, aren't we?
We are on second edition, yes we are. So I am looking at you to give me sensors and science 1 dice from the Navis, and it's treated as having a focus, so remember to check the box for focus. And you get an 8, which is spectacular. So yeah, that's 5 successes. Magowd. That is now a full momentum pool. Ba-boing!
Can we use this again?
Science officer, so when you succeed, if you want to obtain, well, yeah, absolutely, if you really want to, but you would have to spend 1 to ask. So, yes, bravo from Stellar Cartography, does indeed find it interesting. Okay, so, long-range sensors have got definitive proof that there is a black hole, a singularity, in the center of the Tondu system, where its star used to be. There are several planets in the system. The 4th planet is the one, according to records, that the Tondu people live on. And that one is showing signs that it is, well, it's being wrecked by the gravitational pull of the black hole. But with the sheer amount of successes you got there, Ori is also able, with the Navis's help, to trace back the origin of the distress signal, and it appears to be coming from a ship, a rather large star vessel that appears to be in the area of the black hole's gravitational pull. And
has it gone over the accretion disk?
Not yet. But the other last pieces of data that Ori's spectacularly awesome sensor scan will get that the ship that this distress signal appears to have emanated from is showing signs that it has got very little in the way of engine power emanating from it. So very little is between it and falling into the black hole currently.
Can we detect life signs on the ship?
Seeing as you had so many successes, I will give you that as a freebie. I will say yes, lots and lots of life signs on that ship. So it's... Actually, no, I'm going to let you use the momentum to ask questions. So you can ask 2, essentially.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't know if we need any more questions, to be honest.
But you have the option, thanks to Ori's Science Officer role benefit, if you wanted to.
Speaking as the medical officer, are there lots and lots of life signs making it unfeasible to try and actually beam them out to our ship as great distance as possible as a rescue effort?
Yeah, so as huge as the Navis is, yes, you are looking at a lot of life signs, more than you've got the capacity to house.
I also wouldn't like to use transporter near a black hole.
Yeah, things might go a bit squibbly.
Yeah.
Use a scientific term.
It's more
Well, it is a scientific term, but it just becomes spaghetti.
It's just more of a thing of
Spaghettification.
it's different. Like if there was 10 people on there, sort of balancing this between transporting through the black hole radiation versus actually going into its field of grip. But if there's huge amounts there, then yeah, no amount of sort of tweaking the transporters can cope with that amount of people.
So it does look it's going to be manual.
Are they getting sucked into the black hole?
It seems like they are, yes. Their orbit, if you will, or their position is decaying to the point where they are getting drawn in.
Okay. Do we know the type of black hole? Because you have stellar, supermassive, intermediate, and primordial.
Without researching each of those intently, I would say it's definitely not supermassive, but it's definitely one of those ones that's threat to life.
Well,
it's more than likely caused...
They're all technically epidemic.
Yes, but it's big enough that it's causing destabilization of the M-class planet that the Tonduan people call home.
What Ori is going to suggest is that we send a carefully worded message to them, expressing our thoughts and prayers in this time of urgent need.
Wow.
That sounds like noping out to me. Okay. Well, that's today's episode. Thanks for playing, guys.
If you said earlier, Matt, that it's a yellow star, unless it was a massive star, about 100 times the size of the sun, it wouldn't have formed a black hole naturally.
Indeed.
Which suggests it's more than likely is that it's going to be a potentially, the primordial black hole.
I
Okay, then.
think it's obviously a Romulan plot.
Fake Vulcans. No, fake Romulans. Fake Romulans. We don't like the point.
Vulcans are fake Romulans, yes. That's it.
It's either that or it's the Orion Syndicate again, but they don't usually take minutes.
We know exactly what it's going to be. Bloody Telecow.
Well, probably is born after a Big Bang.
So, you are now a few minutes out from being able to slow down to subwarp speeds and get into the system proper. So, any last minute things you would like to do or questions you would like to ask before you get into the Tondu system?
Another Romulan ale, Mr. Minoko.
Mr.
Captain,
Minoko
you're
can't
right,
answer
because
you
this-
because he's
you
currently
might
in the
want to be
captain's seat on the
fridge.
bridge.
Oh dear, what a shame. I'll just pick the bottle up with my handlebar.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's a Viber special.
It's a question, probably Viber's directed, given that he's the engineering expert. The Vipos black matter drive or dark matter drive. How would that work in the influence of a black hole? Would that be helpful, or would that be a really terrible idea?
Based on the fact that we are the test people for this, and we haven't tried it yet, I don't know.
Quite.
So what you're saying is we can't pass up this opportunity to test drive a dark matter drive in the vicinity of a black hole to report for Starfleet.
Now, let me, before you answer, let me once again remind folks, if I can find my notes, that, what was it? The reason the Bifrost drive uses dark matter is that in order to navigate the mycelial realm without needing to plug somebody into the ship, was you needed dark matter to create a coherent resonator, and you also use Unit Hello, the main processor of Unit Hello, not the drones, in order to facilitate the navigation of the network. So you're still using the mycelial network to go from one spot to another. You're just using your advanced dark matter drive to facilitate the ability to navigate the thing. So
what
it's still,
you're saying is,
yeah.
if we use it near a black hole, we might get rid of the mycelial realm.
Things go catastrophically wrong.
And there was much rejoicing.
Plugged into the black hole that we carry around.
Yeah, the mind
Well,
boggles at the possibilities.
We destroy the mycelial realm, but I grab a sample of it and grow my own personal mycelial realm.
And then you can claim it as the Bertram realm.
I was about to say.
Oh,
And
I'll
then
go to his head.
I can actually use it to create a
Mycelial
plant-based
realm, yeah.
drive that will use mycelial technology to pull in unwilling people into the Moss lecture hall. Gotcha.
I'm sorry, we can't do that. There's
Demon
morality
Convention.
involved here, and the Prime Directive, and Geneva Convention, and
You know, it's just when the Borg turn up, it's sort of like 24-0 whatever. And they get there and they're sort of like, haha, we've secretly been working with the changelings to infect. Oh, you're all indoctrinated by Bertram and just sat in Moss lectures like, we are Moss, we are one.
We are the Moss. You will be
Yeah.
grown on.
okay.
Yeah, we are the Moss.
We are the Moss. We'll grow on you.
On the topic of the mission,
Oh yeah,
did we
that.
actually-
That!
Do we know the source of the distress signal now, and can we
Yes, you
track
do.
that to anything in system?
Yes, you can. And you already did. But if it needs to be, I'll mention it again, which is the ship.
Right.
The ship in a decaying orbit around the outer periphery of the singularity on a that
Okay.
apparently has
The-
not enough power to pull away.
The ship size we've got, is it something that could be captured within our warp bubble? Or could we extend our warp drive around it?
This ship is a big one.
I mean, they did DS9 with a.
Yeah.
I can't remember which ship they used to move DS9. No, they used itself, didn't they?
They used itself in its thrusters.
It is a big ship, but technically the Navis is of a bigger scale than it. What makes this other ship big is the sheer amount of population it has. So there's a lot more accommodation in this other ship, it seems. But from this distance, you can't tell any much more because of its proximity to the singularity, and therefore it's interfering with any close scans. But as soon as you get within system, you might be able to get better on your short-range scans. Excuse me.
Captain, we've got a diplomatic incident for you. Need you on the bridge.
She's on the bridge.
At last. Okay. So,
Open a channel, point the camera at the captain, sit back down.
Spimpida. Okay, so I've drawn lines on this map because I want to represent the different zones that you're currently in. Obviously, this is the outermost, but this is one zone, so anything in the same zone as yourself is fairly easy to target. If you've got weapons on a ship that have got short as their range, it'll be within the next zone. Anything medium is 2 zones, and anything long range will be able to stretch 3 zones in total. As far as I was last made aware, your phaser array is medium, your torpedoes and quantum torpedoes are long, whereas your tractor beam is close. So, up to 1 zone away to snag a tractor beam. Once again, in order to make things a little bit more visually clear, excuse me, clear my throat. The way command positions or ship positions now work is that you've obviously got the one command position. You've got comms, you've got helm, you've got sensors, you've got tactical, you've got ops. Certain ships, based on their ship's rating, can have more than one station of a certain department, which is why the Navis, having such a high engineering rating, has got an extra ops station that can be taken. Likewise, if your tactical rating had been higher than it currently is, or your security rating, I should say, then you probably would have gained an extra tactical station as well. So stuff like that can be considered. Now, I will state once again that a character is able to move between stations pretty easily and quickly. And just because you are in a station that doesn't always see the action doesn't mean you still can't use your knowledge to create traits that can either help you or hinder the opposition in some way. So everybody should always have something they can do. But let's get around to the Navis pulls in at sublight speeds as it closes on the outer periphery of this of the Tondu system, and as it does, it becomes painfully obvious that there is a black hole, a singularity at the center of the system where it wasn't before. Therefore, anything within the same zone will suffer difficulties equal to the intensity of the singularity, which in this case is a 3. It'll gradually get less and less as you get away from it. So this area will be 2, this area will be 1, and everything out from there will be a 0. But let's get to the one thing that you really did want to know about, which is the other ship. Now that you've closed to within using short-range sensors, you can now see that the other ship, caught very close to the singularity, is a ship that you hadn't seen before. Be right back, no problem. It's not exactly advanced, but it is of a configuration that you haven't seen before, and it does, unfortunately, have the trait main engines down on it. So at the moment, all that's keeping it from tumbling into the black hole is its maneuvering thrusters. It also apparently does not have shields, does not have reserve power, so the whole thing is in a bit of a bad state. So, what would you like to do?
Save them.
Save them. Now, there is a certain amount of, what's the word? Interference. So, things related to sensors and engines, probably weapons too, are going to suffer difficulty increases based upon the strength of the singularity. So just for completion, I will put in here.
So presuming to be magnetic/gravitational interference.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. All the lovely stuff that you love to see. So out here will be singularity 1. So obviously the interference gets smaller the further away you are. So, Navis is currently outside of the interference range of the singularity, and will need to get close up with them, but this, of course, depends on how quickly or how carefully you want to proceed. So then, what would you like to do?
Scan the ship, but do we have to get closer?
You can try and scan the ship, absolutely, but there will be some interference because the ship is within Singularity 3, and therefore any attempt on getting a detailed scan
Would be
will
able
be
to
more difficult.
I said if it's potentially magnetic based, we'd be able to compensate.
As it happens, you haven't yet used Orai's rapid hypothesis to create a trait.
Right.
So now might be the time.
Do it.
Go guy, alright.
So let's think. Magnetic compensation? Or
Something to
gravitic
neutralise
compensation? What kind of side of things would you like to experience less? The gravity or the interference?
Gravity. If we're going in, we want to be avoiding the gravity. The interference is interference. But if we get anywhere close to that event horizon, the gravity well is going to tear us apart.
Yes. So, thanks to Orai's efforts earlier, you can implement some kind of defense system to up the power of your deflectors and your deflector dish and your shields to try and hold the worst of the gravity at bay. So that's no problem. You have freely created a trait now.
I have a crazy plan that might work.
Okay.
I like crazy plans.
We can't go in there sensibly and get out safely. That's a known thing with this because of gravity madness. It was going to be painful. But a slingshot maneuver might work.
I knew it was coming.
Slingshot around the black hole.
Yeah.
So if you aim wide enough,
it the Dylan Hunt maneuver.
Nice.
With less time side effects if we're lucky. But I'm thinking, run in there at full speed. slingshot round. The idea is to grab that ship in the tractor beam as we go round and try and get it inside our shield bubble as much as we can. So we'll need to expand our shield bubble enough to cover them to get out of there, even if it only lasts for an hour.
How many traits?
How much madness does that need? All of it.
All I heard from you, Mike, then was, can we trace?
How many traits can we create?
Well, if you're willing to spend 2 momentum, you could create another one.
Well, I mean, if we're going to do that, we need to probably run it through science and navigation. Well, if we did, we create a trait that will allow more success.
I think we are going to need something to compensate for the interference as well. So we're going to need to be able to scan and find out what's going on, else we'll be going in blind.
Yeah, and I would say navigation needs to be in on that, don't they?
Indeed. Is that what you want to do then?
I'm not the boss.
But it sounds like a good idea to me, so it's up to you guys if you want to actually implement it. So, final thoughts then. Implement some kind... You can spend 2 momentum to create another trait that'll help you maybe compensate for the sensor interference, which will help with, navigational sensors and whatnot. So,
Not around black hole.
Perfectly fine if you want to do that. But, you're spending 2 momentum to do it, so... That depends if you want to spend the momentum or not. Alex, yay or nay?
I mean, I said probably worth it just to compensate so we can see what we're doing.
So that's 1 yay. Davis, yay or nay?
Yay, let's go for it.
Gareth?
I'll go yay.
Right, okay. Mike's definitely for the yay because he came up with the idea, so Webby...
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Let's make another trait.
I hate to say this as well, but if we are going to slingshot, it's however good Lenny is, he's only in 9.5, whereas I'm 11.5. I'm like, oh no.
Get the captain on board.
Again.
He's like, throw up a card.
It's fine, Captain. We've got you the manual control stick.
Oh yay! Can have a controller instead.
It arrives on Tuesday.
I'll say the Konami code will not save you here.
Up, down, down.
Sir, please stop jettisoning escape pods.
We don't need. We need to remove all the weight.
All right, time to jettison all the liquor. No, not the special stash.
We can't jettison the liquor. It's not on the manifest. He doesn't know it's there.
All right then. So you've
guess.
engaged gravitic compensation for your shields and your deflectors. You've engaged sensor compensation as much as you can by upping the resolution and sensitivity of your sensors to try and gather as much information as possible. So, with all those preparations in order, I suppose it's time to start calculating that.
There's 2 other things we could really do with figuring out before we go in there to save them.
Okay.
One is, can we get the tractor beam to hold their ship in one piece with the size of it? And the other one is, Doctor, can they survive this? And what can we do to mitigate that?
Mitigate them surviving?
No, mitigate them being crushed into a pancake when we yank their ship out to high speed.
Well,
Well, we don't know if they have inertial compensators.
Well, in terms of can they survive it, I can't, because do we actually know anything about their biology, given that we don't recognise their ship?
Humanoid at most is what the records show.
Yeah. They without internal dampeners, well, they'd have the same chance as we would without internal dampers, given that we can't really do anything beyond, above sublight without internal dampers. There's your answer. So, is there any way we can kind of create a makeshift temporary sort of field around us using?
Well, that's it. If we encapsulate them in the warp bubble, we will give them some sort of dampening.
Because you're reducing their mass, so.
They're still probably going to get thrown quite heavily in it, but.
Oh.
Yeah, well done, Navis. You nearly killed Mike with humour.
Damn it! I need to try better.
Can you mitigate his survival through that?
More humour, RR. Right, okay, so, alright then, so, next it seems like then that this is going to be all down to minute planning, I suppose. Whoever you think your best helm is going to be needed, possibly the captain, to try and do this slingshot maneuver, and then whoever's on tactical is going to need to try and snag the other ship with very little in the way of time to do so. So it's going to be very interesting and complicated. So
I know I probably should go back to this. I just realised that phrase, mitigate, survive. It sounds like something a mad AI would say when it's been told to remove things, like with hello. It's like mitigating the survivors.
This unit will mitigate their survival to the extreme.
No consequences?
Okay. So, I take it then you're definitely considering replacing Lenny at helm with Andrews.
I think so.
Sounds good to me. I mean, you're still technically captain. That means that Vibers could also move up into the command post, freeing up comms to be held by whoever. Not that comms gets used all that much, but it's useful to have somebody there who can just help with other people's stuff. So, which is essentially what comms is. An extra ability to call on somebody who can help you with a task. So, as usual, Ori is good at sensors, which is where he's at. So Helm, you've got good placement there. Claught, of course, really good. Has got control of 10 rather than 12. Edwards is mitigated. He's got higher control but lower security. What about Nova? Higher daring, which is not what we want in this case. Or do you? And security is actually higher, but control is lower. So yeah, it's a toss-up, really. Any of the aforementioned candidates would be a reasonable enough choice to try and use the tactical station to snag the ship in distress with the tractor beam. So, are you happy with Claught being there, or does somebody else want to have a go? Excuse me while I take care of my itchy nose. I mean, if you do use Claught, then you would be using one of your 6 crew support uses. So it depends if you want to be cheap and have someone else try. One of the other options, actually, for each position in the ship is that you can try and override somebody else's console and gain command of their position from wherever you are, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Didn't Zafran Cochrane once famously say, "Never be cheap with a black hole"? And if not, why not?
So, yeah, I mean, didn't Zefram Cochrane get lost in an alternative dimension because he fell into a black hole?
Zafran Cochrane did a lot, didn't he?
So I'm presuming, since nobody's saying anything, that you're happy with Claught still being on tactical to do the snagging with the...
Yeah.
Yep.
Worst
Yeah,
case,
we'll
he just
probably
looks at the ship and goes, "I'm clocked."
Yeah, sure.
got
Get over here.
Port snagging them and ops coordinating and helping with the helm because we've got to do quite a complicated thing if we're coming in a
Yep,
slow
there's going to be a
warp
lot
to
of
try and
power
grab
shunting.
them. We
Yeah, I
need to
can see
drop
that.
out of warp without catch them without losing momentum and get back into warp with a bubble around them. That's gonna need a bit of
Now,
ops
warp
work.
speed in system is always frowned upon.
Well, we're
But
probably doing full impulse with a warp bubble up to try and mitigate some of the gravity.
yeah,
But it's not gonna be pretty.
no, indeed. All right then.
If anyone's read the SCE books, I think we're probably talking stutter drive type stuff.
I haven't read any of the SCE stuff, so you'll have to forgive my ignorance on that one.
So you're doing full impulse to try and do like warp half, and you're doing it by you can either push yourself through the system to try and get back out again. That might be the sort of thing we can come up with.
Okay, yep, that's fine. Still works either way. Alright then, so everyone is sitting in readiness to do their thing. So, Ops starts channeling power to the various systems. Ops number 2, of course, helps with putting on the various compensators that have been installed. Sensors trying to keep the interference from becoming too much of an issue so that you can gain target lock when you gain past and also navigate successfully whilst avoiding getting stuck in the singularity's gravitational pull. So everybody working pretty much together. You're all bracing yourselves, getting ready for the countdown to initiate your maneuver, which is as you start powering the impulse engines ready and start drifting forwards to build up speed and momentum. As you start building up momentum, that's when you get a sensor alert on sensors and tactical. Another batch of warp signatures have just been detected, and they are now coming out of the shadow of some of the planetoids currently caught in the outer edges of the black hole's pull, and they're only now coming into view. As they come out from behind the cover they were using. So anybody who wants to run, anybody who's got starship recognition, which screams in Admiral Akbar. Yes, indeed.
It's a trap!
So, yeah.
Cultural studies,
Sure.
because each race has its own kind of design.
Yep, so insight and science. I think this is particularly pertinent for Edwards here, so yeah, this will
being
make
a
sense.
frontier colony.
2 successes, yeah, nice. Oh yeah, Edwards recognizes the silhouette of these guys' Nausicaan ships, which suddenly puts a whole new spin on this.
They look like Raider class.
Well, quite. What you consider raiders are usually the smaller ships, the Vandals.
Mm.
The bigger ones you rarely see. But what you find very interesting is their formation. They are definitely positioned between yourselves and the ship, and are positioned in such a way that, yes, well, maybe. It's entirely possible. They are positioned themselves exactly so that their backs essentially are to the other ship, which suggests they find it no threat whatsoever.
Just seeing the scenario, they sort of like a big ship like that had force it into something like this. It sends out a distress signal. They pick off whoever turns up.
Yes, indeed. which means that tactical and sensors both read that the Nausicaan ships are fully powered up, their weapon systems are active, and it looks like they are training their target locks on yourselves. So, I am going to throw this into initiative, as per usual. But, obviously, this goes... Now, who do I add? For the moment, let's keep Lenny out of this. Because he's not on... not on station, so he can be left out, technically. I am going to... there's an awful lot of those. I'll manage this slightly differently, I think. So, yes, one of you gets to go first. So, what would you like to do? Who would like to go first? Which of your stations do you want to react first?
Probably tactical to bring the weapons and shields online.
Okie dokie.
Well, red alert should be technically a...
Yeah.
Yes.
It should be at yellow already.
So you do have rapid response shields, so it takes a minor action to activate shields anyway, but for you guys it's a free action because of Andrew's implant.
And rainbow colours everywhere.
Yep, rainbow colours everywhere. It goes through the spectra first before it settles on red. So, tactical, you're activating tactical, so Clawt's tactical options. Well, if we go back to the reference cards...
range 2, that you said on.
They're currently at range medium. So you would... It would be difficulty 4 for a torpedo, 3 for your phaser array. Your array's medium, isn't it? I did say that before, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So, once again, Claude, so his minor actions can be prepare shields and weapons. So, luckily, like I said, you've got rapid response shields, so shields can be activated on a whim. So, Claude can now use prepare weapons to arm weapons as a minor action. So, as a major action, he can either create a trait, or he can use defensive fire, which means he can choose a single energy weapon on the ship until Clawt's next turn. Any enemy attack against your ship becomes an opposed task against his daring and security, aided by the ships. Or you can just plain out shoot a weapon. Or you can try and modulate your shields to increase your resistance. Or you can try and use a tractor beam. So those are his tactical station options on top of whatever regular actions you can take. Which is change position, interact, prepare, assist, override, and pass turn. So, what would you like to do with Claude? Just plain choose a ship and open fire, or...?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright then. Any ship in mind?
Big one.
Big one. Alrighty. So, Claude gets to roll with assistance from the ship. So for him, it's the usual thing of a control and security check, 2 dice, aided by... let's go with... I'm going to go with Alex being the Navis for now. aided by the Navis's weapons and security. So 1 dice for the
No
Navis,
focus.
obviously. No focus in battle, no. Nevertheless, that's a 7, so that is a success. So, Gareth,
Hello.
you can be Clort.
Yay, Claw.
Spend the momentum, Claude.
Okay. I'll spend the momentum. Is that to add a new die?
If you want to
Cool.
add, you spend momentum to add an extra dice, you roll 3 dice instead of 2, then absolutely, yes.
Okay. This control and security.
Correct, and Claude should have the focus of shipboard tactical systems, so
Yep.
you're looking good for that.
4
successes. Okay, so you got
Claw
5.
switches button!
You got 5. I said you needed 3, so you got 2 over and above. So what that means is I am going to spend. Right. So that one of the smaller craft actually pulls in front of your phaser beam and takes the hit for the larger craft, but you still get damage off. So the damage, Alex, if you're still on the Navis's character sheet, can you just press the insignia for phaser array? Just so we know what we're dealing with here. Cool. Now, it is a versatile weapon, which means a successful hit deals you 2 additional momentum, and you got 2 over and above what you needed, so what you can do is you can bank 2 and then use 2. What you can use the 2 that the versatile gives you is to up the damage by a further 1, giving it 10 damage rather than 9.
Sounds good. Does anyone else thinks that they want to use it for something else?
Yep.
Nah, do it.
Add more damage.
Cool, and the gang. So that becomes 10 in total. Where is the... There we are. So that's a 10. Not ignoring its resistance, that becomes a 7, and you pretty much knock its shields down to half in one go, which means the ship becomes shaken. So yes, that was a very good shot, but one of the smaller craft took the shot for the bigger ship. That's all that Lort can do, so now it's their turn, and this is where it gets interesting. So the smaller craft pulled into the path of the Navis, getting a target lock on the bigger ship, and took the hit, and it shows damage to its shields as a result of taking the hit. As it drifts away from taking the hit, the larger ship is turning, and Ori Station gets an alert. Ori, according to sensors, there is a large tachyon build-up on the larger ship's main deflector. Which is odd. But it's a tremendous power build-up. And it looks like it's just building and building and building and building. And I'm going to take a focus. This. Then I'm going to take 3 out of that because that was terrible.
Yes, burn all your fat now.
That was worse. Okay.
And also could go in. Why did we create consoles with only the one button?
We have not learned from Claude.
No, Claude's
Yes,
button works.
Ah, gotcha. It came through. The ship came through in the end. Maybe they've got their own unit. Hello. The main computer goes, oh, for God's sake.
Well, to be fair, they're Nausicans. They're not known for doing complex stuff. They're known for being brutes, aren't they?
Indeed. So the Nausicaan tactical officer, you imagine, or what passes for the science officer, whatever's going on, the ship attempts to initiate some kind of tachyon burst. Now, sensors, specifically tactical and Orai's own sensor station, reads that the... Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. It's not only a tachyon burst, it's some kind of phased tachyon beam erupts from the main deflector of the lead large Nausicaan ship, and it strikes the Navis.
Now hold on.
Now,
We saw
go on.
we saw it coming. We couldn't do anything in response.
No, because it's their turn.
Their turn.
The phased tachyon beam has got... it took time to build up, it was cumbersome, which resulted in them taking a whole turn to do it, and it hits for 10. So, even though it ignores your resistance, you still have... So you lose about... What is that? Over a third of your shields?
Should we throw ourselves all the command deck?
So, there's a bright beam that pulses forwards, and it strikes the Navis's shields, and the shields take it. But then, something happens. So, you get from Claught a reading that shields are down to, what does that look like? 60-odd percent? Shields down to 60%, Captain. And just... But that's about it. So, one of you next. So who's going next?
Essentially, I'd say maybe Helm, so we can set up some sort of dodge or some way of trying to lessen the next impact.
Sure.
I mean, that's my idea, but obviously...
I mean, we could also set up and spend momentum to do a secondary attack. They shot us, we shoot back straight away, and then we could do this shield regeneration bit.
That's what you want to do?
So yeah, we can try and create an advantage from Helm. I think still... Sorry, you first, Mike.
During each round, how many actions are we allowed individually on the ship?
Individually, you're allowed a minor action and a major action.
Okay. So, is it possible Ori could try to analyze some data from that attack to figure out a way to compensate or negate it?
Potentially, yes. So, you now, by the sounds of it, have several options to consider. A possible second attack, or a possible setup for an evasion, or a possible scanning of what happened in order to try and better prepare for it next time.
Well, whatever.
Think.
How is the the vessel doing?
The other vessel is still in a deteriorating orbit, I suppose you could call it. Like the trait above it indicates, its main engines are down, therefore there's nothing much stopping it from being inexorably pulled into the crushing embrace of the black hole.
And their ships don't seem to be affected by any of this.
Well, if they are, then they're not showing it currently, but then they haven't... The Nausicans haven't shown much so far, except for firing this big beam weapon, and apparently very poorly. So...
If they're using tachyon technology, given that tachyons, I believe, are faster than light, could they be creating some sort of effect that's able to overcome the normal pull of the singularity?
That would be something that somebody like Ori would have to determine, I suppose.
Yeah.
By using sensors.
Technology.
So, I once again ask the question, what's next? Or who's next?
What would y'all like Ori to work on?
Or do you want to do another attack? Or do you want to declare that Helm is doing an evasive maneuver? Or something else, like get the shields back?
All the above.
I simply want who's doing what first. Who's next doing their thing. What do you think is of higher priority?
My vote goes for Helm, but the captain did say he wanted to fire an attack.
Davis, what do you think?
Not sure.
If you had to pick, which one do you like more? The shoot,
If
the
I had
evade,
to
or the
pick-
scan?
I'd say shoot at this point, because if we can take one of them down, then that's one less thing to shoot back at us.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2 for shoot, 1 for evade. Gareth, where do you sit on all of this?
I think because Bertram is a medic and non-combatant, he would go with defense first to evade, or either that, or I think it is with kind of there between us and them. There's no real way for us to actually do any sort of rescue thing without dealing with the Nauticans first.
Potentially.
Yeah. So Bertram would probably go with evade because he's a doctor, not a warrior.
I just realised actually we didn't actually work out if the Nauticans, when they came out of planet side, they had their weapons charged and were being hostile. We opened fire.
No, you did. You did get that they had their shields up, their weapons active, and they did put a target lock on you.
Okay, yeah, it's fine, and it's Nauticans, so we know what they're like.
We could just calm them and say, "Can you get out the way? We're doing a rescue mission."
Well, it's a bit late for that.
No, that was a warning shot. They moved.
It wasn't your fault that they moved in the way of the warning shot, So, Mike, your money is on scanning to see what information you can get?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're kind of at a weird little impasse here.
Can we pull a momentum and get 2 actions in a turn?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Let's do that then.
Okay, so once again it becomes whose action? Now the benefit of the helm action to evade at least is that you don't do it on your turn. It comes when they attack you, so...
I'm happy to do the helm evade.
Okay, so that's basically a declaration, but...
Yeah, and then Clark follows up. Because we're going to get attacked. At the moment, it's 4-on-1, and the sensors bit holds weight. Shields, obviously, regeneration holds weight, but at this moment in time, we need to try and thin the numbers. Because no matter how much we are as a ship, 4-on-1 is still not good odds at the moment.
Righty. So, what I will say is that Helm aiding... Helm basically waits until they make another attack, and then it becomes an opposed roll, so this doesn't necessarily count as your turn having gone. So what you can do is spend 2 momentum and have Claude take another major action. Which
Can Helm set up a trait?
Can Helm set up a trait if you want to set up a trait instead to make it a little easier next time? Maybe, yeah, sure. What were you thinking?
Well, attack run.
Attack
or
run.
defensive run.
Yeah, so either way, if you do attack run, then you wait until tactical, and you aid their attack roll, or with evasion, you wait until the enemy attacks you, and then your go goes when you roll to oppose their attack roll. So essentially, Helm waits or goes in somebody else's turn, so Helm doesn't necessarily need to go now. You just say that that's what you'll do, and your turn will come when that happens. So, are you doing attack action or are you doing evasive action, do you think?
We'll do the evasive.
Okay, so you wait until they attack you, which is fine. So, the actual action that happens then is Claude attacking a second time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, if you want to pinch 2 momentum. Which I will do. 2 momentum gone. Gareth, since you are Claude, you can do that, but let's have Webby be the ship this time.
Weapon security.
Weapons and security, 1 dice for the ship, and control and security, 2 dice for Claude. That is a 2, which is really good from the Navis.
Is it worth me taking the momentum to add another die?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready. Attacking the same ship with its broken shields.
Mhm.
Nice. Oh, so you got 1 over and above what you needed. Yes.
Pile on the
Spadoop.
damage.
Now, like I said, this is a versatile weapon, so the interesting thing we've got here, if I can just re-familiarize ourselves with that. What was I saying? What was I going to say? Starship, combat. The other traits it's got going for it on the phaser array is... I mean, area, if you wanted to, you could spend one of those 2, or both of those 2 versatile extra momentum points in order to attack an additional target. So you could target 1 and hit 2 others if you wanted to. Or you could use spread, which is do devastating attack, which, if I recall, is hitting a second system, but is that only on a breach? Let me quickly have a look. Devastating attack is roll an additional system that suffers a hit. So when you that suffers a hit, dealing half the attack's damage, rounding up. So those are your options. With area, you could hit this one and 2 additionals, or with spread, you could hit that same ship a second time, but for half the damage. Which, considering you took half its shields down in 1 shot, the second shot might be enough to actually blow it up.
That's a good point. Yeah, I forgot to do the thing to get that reduces their resistance. That probably would have been good before the hit.
But we didn't do that, so...
I don't just remembered it. Oh.
But it is a smaller ship, and therefore the amount of resistance it can offer is probably limited. So, how do you want to spend it? Hitting multiple ships, or piling the shots on the 1 ship?
Piling shots on the 1 ship, I think.
Okay.
Gareth, you're Claude, so what do you want to do?
Okay. We'll pile on those shots on the ship.
Okay, so you don't need to roll a second time, that's fine. So the first shot did 9 overall. They have resistance, which means we go for 6, which means the first shot hit it, nearly took its shields completely down, which means the second one does half, 4.5, we're rounding up. 5, and it is 2, which means it does take a breach. Whoosh. Now, you took out its shields and the ship was already shaken. If the ship is already shaken from the attack, the ship suffers a breach instead. So you actually inflicted 2 breaches.
Yay!
With that 1 attack, which is very, very cool. So 2 breaches means it loses 2 of its... Okay. So, ba-boom, ba-boom. The ship is badly damaged. 1 more shot and it will definitely be done. But, as Claude program... So, programs in the targeting solution, presses the fire button, the phaser spread shoots off and does its thing, and that's when all of the consoles start to flicker, and all the consoles are now flickering up and down. And unfortunately, well, let me get to that. Let me get to the unfortunately. After we get a very...
Anyone check to see if there's things in the engine again?
Very urgent, a very urgent call. Engineering to bridge. Something's going on with the cloaking device. That phased tachyon pulse, it seems to be interacting with the tachyon surge. The cloaking device is activating. Now it's deactivating. It seems to be in this weird activation-deactivation cycle. Captain, we're losing shields.
Just pull it from the flipping mainframe.
So, we now have a extra problem, which comes from having a cloaking device. So you now have a trait cloaking device malfunction, and now it's their turn. One of the smaller craft breaks formation and starts coming forwards. And then, with your shields down, it... well... Ori, his sensor station lights up as the Nausicaan raider ship is now using its high-resolution sensors to scan your ship.
Oh no, they didn't.
It seems they are concentrating. They are generally scanning your ship, but then as Ori is noticing them do this, Ori also notices that they focus their scanning beams on. They focus on deck 6, deck 9. Pardon me, deck 8. So deck 6, deck 8, deck 9, deck 15 specifically. They start focusing in very much on those areas.
We block that scan?
I'm trying to remember what we have in those areas.
Let me think. Deck 6, main computer.
5 minutes and we won't have anything.
Deck 6, the main computer. Deck 8, sick bay and also science labs. Pardon me, science labs are on deck 6, pardon me, as well as the main computer. Deck 8 is mostly the sick bay. Deck 9 is where you keep the Bifrost drive. Deck 15 is, well, that's, if I recall, engineering. Let's actually make sure I'm not making this up. Hang on. Yeah, Deck 6, main computer core. Deck 8, medical bays, and also, of course, your botany research lab. Deck 9 is the Dark Matter Taurus. Deck 15, your main phaser arrays, actually, as well as your deuterium storage. Targeting and firing control. Deck 16 as well is where they're scanning, which is your engineering deck.
What you're saying is they scan they've scanned all the things that could contain valuable parts of the ship.
Seems so. Which of you is next? Now, bearing in mind you are able to move from your current location to any other location on the ship using the turbo lifts while they're still active. So,
I suggest a Nova to bypass, from an operations side, bypass the cloaking device, so it's no longer can draw power. Put a jury rig in place. As an ops specialist, she should be able to divert power so that it can't draw power from it.
Jury rig, you say?
Doesn't even need to be a jury rig. That's what the EPS conduits are for, right?
Yeah, just shunt all EPS power away from the cloaking device so it can't draw anything.
Alrighty. Okay. So that's at least the start of the problem. So let's try and take that out. Okay, cool. So I will have... Who hasn't rolled in a bit? Most of you have been doing rolls, right? So,
Sean hasn't. Oh, wait.
Yeah, quite. That's fine. I'll if he's away for the entire thing, I'll reimburse him. Doop. Alex, you haven't rolled much. Let's let you roll as Nova. So,
Okay.
this sounds like control and engineering as you're rerouting power. This is going to be... Now, this is where I use that little tactical edge you gave me earlier. This is going to be difficulty 4.
Would this be inner workings?
Yeah.
Trying to think of determination.
It was going to be difficulty 3, but you gave me the option of increasing something's difficulty, so...
Not sure if any of her values would work.
We've done the impossible, and that makes us mighty.
Yeah. Ain't all buttons and charts.
And that too.
I was wondering... I wasn't too sure that's what that meant in that case, but no, fair enough. The last one will work. I'd like to use determination.
Okay, so remember to roll 1 less dice and tag the determination.
And I'd also like to nab a momentum.
Sure. I will also point out that that Nova has 4 star crosses, which allows you to double Nova's focus range if you use them.
Please use them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Star crosses, did you say?
Yes.
As this is something we could really do with you critting on.
Cochrane's, pikes.
Sorry,
Cochrane.
wrong system.
No, it's essentially you want to. Yeah, it is. It is the equivalent of critting, getting within your focus range. It's getting 2 successes rather than 1. So yeah, you're not wrong.
We could also burn like a Medal of Honor bit.
I was looking at it, they're a bit merged together. I'm trying to find the Cochrane and I can't see it.
Cochrane
wait.
Medal.
Found it.
Starfleet Medal of Honor will only get you two momentum on a successful, 2 bonus momentum on a successful thingamajig. Same for Legion of Honor.
How do I increase the focus range?
There should be an extra checkbox underneath focus for dedicated focus.
Okay.
That's what you want to check as well. So yeah. Oh, very good. Now, 19. But you got 2 1s, which is very impressive, and you got exactly what was needed. Nice. Okay, so you've managed to successfully pull the cloaking device off of the main power grid. As such, the cloaking device isn't is going to build down and will not be drawing power. So yeah, nice. Which means now that Nova got activated. So let me just do that. Which means it's the Nausicaan's turn. The next Nausicaan ship moves in. And
Does that mean our shields come back if the thing's not
Not
is it
yet,
device not gonna come back on?
because even though you took the thing off of the grid, it doesn't shut down immediately. As you've pulled the power, now everything needs to run back down again, so right back to normal. So the Nausicaans come in, but they don't power their weapons.
Boarding, maybe.
Yes, indeed. As tactical and security, get the warning that multiple transporter beams have been detected. When on decks, there's apparently a Nautican boarding party on Deck 6, Primary Computer Core, Deck 6, Primary Science Labs, Deck 8, Botany Research Lab, Deck 8, Medical Bay, Deck 9, Yggdrasil Drive, Deck 15, Phaser Arrays 1 to... whatever, and Deck 17, the Engineering. Now your shields come back up. So, what happens now?
Security teams, I imagine.
Yes. Now, do you want to just leave it to security teams, or do folks want to break off and try and help the security teams deal with the Nausicaan raiders?
Well, Edwards is in engineering.
So, do we
Alrighty,
want
if they've
to
already-
cut to engineering then for Edwards to do his thing in engineering?
Captain.
Fine by me.
Alrighty, activating Edwards is... So, let's bring Edwards into this. Edwards is usually somewhere over on the side ones, so, yep.
Makes me glad we have so many Klingons.
Yes, quite. So, Edwards is in the room when the Nausicans all beam in. 2 teams of 3s.
That's right, we don't really have a nearest armory, do we?
But you've got what you've usually got on you, which is your standard standard loadout.
Oh, the sound guns are permanent. Okay.
Well,
Can
it's
we
your
remove that as
baby,
well?
so I,
Fair
You
enough.
never put it down, do you?
I mean, you've
Switch
handed
to-
it over to other people, certainly, but
I'd imagine we quickly report to bridge numbers in the in engineering requesting assistance. Switch. Does that count as a minor action?
good question. Speech. No, I think you're free on that one. There's no reason speech should be a minor action.
Then it'd just be
Minor action
Draw
would be the
it.
calibration or drawing.
yeah, draw and calibrate, and
So-
then
If you're going to calibrate, you're going to need to spend a momentum on doing a second minor action.
Mayo. Or do people want it? As we only got down to 3. Anyone?
I'm fine with anyone spending anything, 'cause just make everything.
I'm hearing no
interesting.
objections.
So it's gone very quiet. I'm starting to feel I might
Yeah,
have just
sorry, I was
taken
on mute.
over.
Yes, spend it, because if we don't, the warp core could go offline, and then we're in even more trouble.
Okay. Can I see the 3 from here, or is that actually that's a gap in the ship? So I need to move, wouldn't I?
I'll say, yeah, you're able to move anywhere in your area, fine, no problem. But you're
So
aware they're
calibrate.
there.
Yeah, calibrate. So move, calibrate, fire into the nearest group.
Cool. So
Secure
control
and security.
and Yep.
Oh, control and security. Da-da-da-da-da-da. No focus.
No, but that's a very good roll. Exactly what you would have needed. So let's get the So it does stun as default. It can't do lethal unless you really, really knock it. Now it does have opportunity 2, which is nothing. It does have debilitating. Let's remind ourselves what that does. The difficulty to treat or heal injuries is increased by 1, so that's fine. But we are looking at area. So when you succeed at an attack, additional targets in the same zone may be hit by spending 1 momentum for each additional target. So, ooh, that's a good point. Hang on a second.
That's good. That's the thing. I can burn a determination to give us some more momentum if I use these 2 to hit all 3.
What do folks think?
Do it if you're happy to spend the determination.
You have an
So-
option. You may spend determination. You may immediately add 3 momentum to the group pool.
So
Nice.
use 2 for the to get all 3, and then add 3 for other people.
Nice, nice, nice. Good, good, good. And I do believe. Are you
This is
using
also gonna be the
determination for this? Did you use determination for this?
Yeah, I had to use Spirit of Discovery. But this is actually this is going to be the second time he's had to try and repel borders. When was the last time? I can't remember who it was last time.
Borg.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Death.
It was the Battle
Yes.
of Sector 001.
That's actually a good point. Last time someone on board we lost someone.
So, are you saying that a previous situation on a previous episode is influencing Edwards's behaviour here?
Hmm.
Cool. Note that in
Yeah.
your personal log and make a note of which episode you are referring back to if you want help. You are talking about
Battle of
unintended
001.
consequences. Yes, the Battle of Sector 001. Which should have been episode like 46. Nice, nice, nice. Good, good, good. Now, there's also something else that humans have. When you use one of your values to spend or gain determination, you may also add 1 momentum to the group pool, so you actually add 1 more again.
Yeah.
Then, you wanted to take multiple Nausicaans out by spending 2 extra momentum.
Which I've already taken off, because then
Cool.
we would have had 5 in there.
Now, these are NPCs, and they are NPCs with a value. But you have got the Sound Gut at Intensity 3, which is more than I've got Threat remaining for, so you do actually take all 3 of them out.
Not again.
Never again. So, defeated, not dead, but nicely done, Mr. Edwards. Defeated. Nice, 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 nice. Very well done. Alright, so let me see. We're just going to try and deal with this as quickly as we can. So the 3 Nausicaans are going to work in tandem, actually. Let me...
Probably made Edwards made himself a bit of a target there, so
Yes! So these 2 are going to aid. That one is going to shoot. So he's just doing that, rolling that many. He's got ranged weapons. Ba-boom. Ooh, look at that. 2 complications. Wow, these Nausicaans are rubbish. Doesn't help when other people are fighting back. So we only got 1 success, which means they actually the Nausicaans are actually so shocked by what Edwards actually did that they just hurl fire in his general direction, hoping that he will just back off and quake like any regular weakling. But it seems that Edwards is holding his ground, and these guys are showing themselves up for being, well, bad for aiming. So they don't do anything else. The rest of the engineering crew are, of course, not really doing much of anything at present, just kind of getting out of the way as there's fire going off in random directions. So that's them for now. Let's go over to... Let me see. They've had their go, they've had their go, they've had their go. These guys are left, so they are going to use... Oh, they've only got one turn they can use. Alright then. How good are these guys at operating their own machinery? Let's see. Okay, they're getting better. Oh yeah, it's actually structure and security, I think. I'm going to call it that. 2 successes. I think that was what they needed to try and get some shields back, but let's make sure I'm not making that up. Regen shields is control and engineering, structure and engineering, pardon me. Difficulty of 1. So it's actually structure and engineering. So I got that wrong. Engineering is a lot lower. What did I roll? A 10? They actually needed it was actually a 9, so they failed. They failed to get their shields up. Wow. The famed Nausicaan pirates, feared by all.
They vandaled their own ship.
Well, what they forgot to take into account was there's a gravity effect there. It messes up your shields.
Quite. Which means one of you can now go next. So, Andrews is holding off on doing an evasive action, but they haven't used their turn to attack. So, Andrews can always walk that back if she wants to. Vibers has yet to go, and Ori has yet to go as well, so... now might be a good time for Ori to scan that phased tachyon pulse.
Yeah.
Everyone's good with that?
Let's get my shit up.
So, this will be aided by the ship. So let's have Davis, if you can be the Navis for me, and that's going to be sensors and science, and control and science with a focus on sensors for Ori, if you please, sir.
I really gotta increase control.
Well, you know, that's something to work on next time.
Yeah.
One from the Navis, which is cool.
Hold on, let's do.
2 successes overall, which is, I think, 1 over and above what you needed. Yeah, because you've got the sensor compensation that you got earlier, so that's fine. Your previous trait is also helping you here. Science officer, yep, if you need to ask questions, you can. So, okay. Let's see. Well, you get the 1 bonus momentum for getting over what you needed. So, the phased polaron beam that hit your ship appears to be fitted to their main deflector. Sensors suggest that the Nausicans have made some kind of alteration to their ship. The alteration, whatever the technology that's allowing them to fire this phased phased tachyon beam, pardon me, let me get my eons correct. The phased tachyon beam appears to be from a piece of non-Nausicaan technology that they have apparently bolted onto their main deflector, not on the outside, on the inside of their ship. So, knowing what you guys know about Nausicans, unless on that ship there's a Nausicaan genius, which, let's face it, is not outside the realms of possibility. Your initial thought there, Mike, likely scavenged, seems a reasonable enough supposition to go with. They have used all of their turns, so Vibers and Andrews have got turns left to go, so what would you guys like to do?
Do you want to do a shared action on this one? I've got a cunning plan.
Yeah, you can both act at the same time if that's what you want to do.
Is it cunning as a fox?
It is as cunning as a fox that went to Oxford University for cunning.
And took a job in the Ministry of Cunning Planning.
It involves holographic torpedoes, program Blackadder.
Explain program Blackadder.
Well, I'm gonna shoot a. I gotta say, let's do a full spread of holographic torpedoes, setting them up as a distracting, stupid 20th century TV show actors appear all over their
You're
ship.
actually putting in Blackadder. Oh god, it's just Baldric everywhere.
It's just Baldric everywhere, just saying to every single Nautican, I have a cunning plan, on repeat, because we only got the trailers.
So, for our non-UK brethren,
there'll be a link down here.
Blackadder is a comedy series that ran for 4 seasons. It was based in various points in history, all centered around somebody called, well, the first one was Edmund the Blackadder, but then seasons 2, 3, and 4 was about a man called Edmund Blackadder. Typical British humour of the time, written by Ben Elton, so yeah.
And his manservant slash peasant, Baldric, who was a complete idiot and didn't know what was going on and always came up with plans that might possibly have worked.
So, what I will say here is that if you want this to work, you're going to have one of you be the one who's going to have to spend 2 momentum in order to launch torpedo. Because you've already done the attack action twice, so another major action in regards to tactical is going to cost you 2 momentum. But one of the others can perform an action to create a trait that will let you bypass the Nausicans' shields briefly in order to make sure that this holographic torpedo can actually hit.
Sounds like a plan.
So, the first person needs to... Yeah, the first person needs to do something widgy with science in order to get the...
Do we want to first of all create the advantage then for an attack pattern?
That requires...
It's the helm action.
Yeah,
Surely
it is the helm action that you haven't taken.
Mm-hmm.
But it will mean that... actually, no, okay, no, okay, cool. So yeah, you can do that, which means that... if Vibers fires the torpedo,
Yep.
then Andrews can roll to assist with the attack by doing an attack pattern. Yes.
Okay, so we need to do the science bit as well, don't we?
So what you probably need to do first is the science bit in order to penetrate their shields. Now, you do have the advantage that Ori has just... Wait a second. Ori just succeeded at a sensor's task, which means that you can... Oh, you can ask additional information. Didn't you also have... Where is it?
Computer expertise.
I'm thinking rapid hypothesis.
Have that.
When you spend... to obtain information, you can create a trait for free.
Oh, that's right.
So you've got to ask a question, and then build upon that question to be able to create the trait, which will allow Vibers' torpedo to go through the Nausicaan shields this once. So you're going to need to spend a point of momentum in order to obtain information. Obtain information means you ask a question of me pertaining to the scan that you took, and I have to answer truthfully. And on the back of that question, you can create a trait.
Captain, are you good with that?
Mm-hmm.
That could be the
Alright.
question. Yes, the captain is good with that. Okay. Go ahead and create the trait. Spend the momentum to ask the captain if they're alright with that.
God.
You're evil.
But I'm also kind in my evil.
Yeah.
Some kind of neutral evil.
Okay, guys. What specific question would you like asked?
So, you've scanned the Nausicaan ship in order to get a hold of the phase tachyon beam, which means...
Can we trigger their cloaking devices?
If they have one.
There's a
Would that
question to
help our-
ask. So what's the question? Go on, sorry, Mike.
Well, we want the torpedo to get through, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So we're going to have to get through their shields, so the question should really be about their shields.
Well, what do we need to do? Bypass
it?
their... Is that
I
too
was saying,
simple?
what is their shield pattern?
Yeah, essentially, what's their shield frequency?
Okay, good question.
Alex hit the nail on the head there. What was your question going to be, Mike?
Well, I was actually going to ask about short harmonics.
That'll do, as well. Both of them
Same
are
thing.
essentially the same kind of question.
Yeah.
What are their shield harmonics? So, yes, and I could give you a frequency of, let's say, 48.2,
Excellent.
which allows you to create a trait, so... Matching shield harmonics, let's call it. Boop. So, for Ori, using a point of momentum, to ask a question to obtain information, you have now built a trait on that, which means you now have the shield harmonics to fire your torpedo. But you will have to spend 2 momentum in order to do another attack action with the tactical station.
Right. What's the role for the torpedo then?
It's going to be control and security. But, Gareth, can I get you to be the Navis, which is going to help with weapons and security of 1 dice?
Weapons.
Now, which... I'm presuming you're aiming for the big ship.
I'm doing full spread. If we can. And we hit all of them with effectively distracting torpedoes.
Hmm. Let me check.
Because it's not really a damaging weapon, it's a
No, quite.
major annoyance.
It really is. Now, full spread for torpedoes. What does that usually entail? Tactical. Calibrate sensors, launch probes, scan for weakness, that's operations. And sensors, tactical, targeting solution, defensive fire. What was the thing you could do when it came to torpedoes?
Salvo?
It was a salvo, that was right. Salvo.
As I'm reading that.
Yes. Salvo. You usually up the damage by a point, so if I recall. But let's see if we can make this work for us. Because if you're gonna be making it act as if it was using the area, then it's gonna be a similar fashion. It's gonna be spending more momentum to take additional targets. And you've only got 2 left. So do you really want to do that? Because if you're essentially giving it the area trait to affect more than 1 target, the rule for area is you spend momentum to attack additional targets.
Let's hit the big one.
Hit the big one. Alrighty.
Right. Is this... No, it's not worth doing that at the moment.
So you've got 1 success. The difficulty is going to be 4 because of the singularity. So this is going to be a toughie. You've already got one, thanks to the Navis.
I'm just trying to think. Is there some? The scar stuff's a trait. It's not a value, is it?
Well, it's kind of both. Why? Scar, Stovercore awaits. If you want to use that...
Nah, that doesn't really fit when I'm sending comedy madness at them.
Yeah, quite. I was going to suggest, yeah, it's more a desperation to protect other people. And you're sacrificing yourself almost to do it. You're putting yourself in the way. That would suggest to me.
Not for this one.
Which is not what you're doing. You're trying to distract them. So, however, you want to use determination. 6 impossible things before breakfast, or needs of the ship.
You said this thing was impossible. You said this was a bad. I'm sure the captain said this was a terrible idea. These torpedoes, and we can never get to use them sensibly.
Which is why you're using them nonsensically.
Yes. There you go.
3 successes, 4 on the money. How good was that?
Do you want the extra for the attack pattern for the... See whether we...
Oh, that's a good point. So that means... That's a good point. Thank you. Reminding us. Helm adds...
I think this is going to be more daring than control. This is more stupid level.
Attack pattern. This is going to be control and con. From yourself. So 1 success, so you did gain 1 over and above what you needed, so that goes back into the momentum pool. So yes, nicely done, nicely noted there. Cool. So you successfully managed to fire your holographic torpedoes. This is the first time you've actually got to use your holographic torpedoes. So the torpedo lances out, goes through their shields and attaches to the outer hull. The next job, of course, will be in trying to hack their systems to start creating that distraction. So Vipers and Andrews have both been now. They've done their thing. Nice. So that matching shield harmonics was a one-shot deal. Excuse me, but now it's the next turn. So, you guys, one of you guys gets to go next. Now, bearing in mind you do have boarding parties currently making life difficult for yourselves.
We've got other ones apart from us, the one in engineering, don't we?
Yes, you do. Now, what I will say is, if I can just find Bravo Chief of Security... Where is he?
Isn't one of them in medbay with the doctor?
Yes, indeed.
Company labs, but yes.
And the medical bay. So,
oh, and the medical bay. What a bunch of jerks.
So, our Chief of Security has got the role benefit of reduce the opportunity cost of weapons and security items by security teams by 1 to a minimum of 0, which means he can gain the advantage of security teams just for 1 momentum. This means you have to activate him, which will use up one of your uses of your supporting cast. But I think it's worth it.
Mount, yeah.
But, you know, don't let me dictate what you do. This is me offering a potential plan of action. Unless...
I think we need to do something to deal with these guys, and it's what his job is.
Other folks? If I don't hear any objections?
Do it!
No.
Cool, then we are activating Chief of Security.
Tell him, Daliard, we've been activated.
So what I'm going to do then is just to create an entry in
Okra.
the... create an entry in this one. I'm going to add him. So he spends momentum to create the security teams trait, which means now security teams can be sent, and anybody who goes to deal with problems in an area will get the backup of security teams as a result. Cool. We've activated Bravo, Chief of Security. Do we want to send him somewhere? Just to give you a reminder, you've got boarding action in primary computer.
Probably the main computer.
Yeah.
Righty-ho, righty-ho, righty-ho. Go to the main computer, and let's send a security team with him. So security officers, because they are... Go on, sorry.
If we lose the main computer, we probably lose Hello as well, and that causes major ops problems.
Not necessarily. Hello is independent and is actually sat in the main science labs.
Oh, good.
But yes, losing main control is still a bad thing. So let me put the security teams in the various places so that whoever goes to those places will get them as backup. And of course I now have to throw in Dr. Bertram to the initiative list because he's going to get visitors too. Just keep adding these guys just to see where you guys are going to be going or not. And engineering. Engineering gets help. Form of an engineering team. Nice, nice, nice. Good, good, good. Right, so we are adding Bertram to the list of folks just so we can give him a turn as well with repelling borders and stuff. So, since we activated him, we may as well go to him. Lieutenant Bravo, Chief of Security, and he is on the primary computer core. Cool. So what he finds is that the main computer, the door to the main computer has been closed. So he can either use his own authority and therefore his action to open the door, or he can use his security team advantage to have one of his security team override the door. And so then he can go in and start blasting. Or something. Or something else. Don't let me dictate your actions. If someone else has got something...
We can only see a black screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Updates. Let me make sure that that's the same for everybody else. That's fine. Botany research we already know. Hopefully medical base. No. Doodly-doodly-doop. So what's the plan with our man?
I think just run in and sort of like drop kick the first one. You know, like, ha!
So get one of his security team to open the door for him. Okay.
Yeah, the Bravo bomb.
You can't.
So
You're out of nowhere, slobber knocker.
So override security locker. Alright, so as soon as the security operative opens up the doors, Bravo gets a look inside and sees the Nauticans are busy scanning, trying to break into the main computer. They are scanning the main computer, and this guy over here appears to be scanning the various racks of isolinear chips. RKO, I don't know where. Is scanning this, so they don't appear to be doing any damage. They're definitely having a good old look.
I think the isolinear chips issue is the main concern on that bit out of those two.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to have the Nauticans. So, cool. So let's have Bravo go. So Bravo, who wants to be Bravo? Who hasn't been in a bit?
Davis hasn't rolled for a bit.
Davis hasn't rolled for a bit. So Bravo can move in for a minor action and can Bravo bomb somebody by using hand-to-hand combat if he wants to.
That is probably not a bad plan.
Rather than exchanging weapons fire inside of the main computer room.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And if I run in and aim for... If I Bravo run in and aim for this guy...
Right.
Then it gives the rest of the security team a clear shot on the other one.
Nice.
So... Woo, let's not move everyone.
Yeah.
Minor to move to there, major to...
Do a daring and security. Now, the guy was busy scanning, so you get the drop on him, because they didn't expect the doors to suddenly open. So this means this is just difficulty 2. 2? 1. Difficulty 1.
Actually, don't need to do that for difficulty 1.
You. Two successes, which means he gets to use an armed strike, which does 2 damage. He got 1 over what was necessary, so that goes back in. 2 damage is... Ooh. Do I really want to use my last threat? Not really. Alright, so the Bravo bomb works. This guy gets taken out.
Bob, he's broken in half.
But now
Oh,
it's
God.
the
Then punch to the face lands behind the chair.
let's see what these guys can do. Alright, so the Nausicaan over here scanning the Isolinia chip Rax runs in and tries to strike Bravo himself. Bravo is aware of them, as you already noted, because he opened the door and got a good old look and then determined his target. Therefore, this is an opposed roll. So this is... should be... If I go back to the top... if it's a melee attack, it's daring insecurity resisted by daring insecurity. So, feel free to roll daring insecurity first, so I know what the Nausicaan's up against. Ooh. Does Bravo have anything to negate that with? Not by the looks of it, no.
I don't think so.
Alrighty.
Anything from... Gee,
Not really.
this isn't really something you can get over comms either, so...
No.
Yeah, this ain't going well.
Right, so he basically gets blindsided by this guy as he's got his attention on taking out the other guy, which he did very spectacularly, but I'm going to take that complication to give me threat back, which means there is no resistance as this guy comes up and, wow, socks him. And the thing about Nausicaans is that their knuckles are spiked, because they have a lot of bony protrusions, which means that rather than doing stun damage, this is actually doing deadly damage. Now, Bravo, thankfully, is a fully leveled up, I suppose, supporting character, which means he has a stress track, which he can use to avoid injury. So he can use 2 of his stress to avoid injury by getting hit by a Nausicaaan's deadly knuckle spurs. The other two Nausicans, meanwhile, seeing everything else that's going on, are hurrying up with their rapid scans of the server racks in the other room. So, while that's going on, we go back to here.
What's the point? They can't
The shields are up,
sorry,
so they
beam
can't
up,
transport out yet. Yeah, indeed. So, Bravo went, Nausicans went. One of you can go next. So, who wants to go next? Does somebody else want to respond to one of the other borders repelling? Or does somebody want to do something in regards to the ships? The Nausicaan ships?
Anyone in a position to help repel borders? I don't think we do, actually.
Well,
Apart from,
anybody can really. I mean, if you want to activate Lenny, he can go. Or again, if you want to activate Lenny, and then Andrews can peel off to a different location if she wants to, so that Lenny can retake Helm.
Other than the Botany Research Lab, wasn't the Bifrost Drive one of the places they were targeting?
Yes.
We probably want to
it was.
defend against that. I mean, given that we've previously been specifically ordered to go to any of them.
That we're not allowed to share that with the Borg.
Yeah, so we don't want especially if the Nausicans are attaching scavenged or stolen technology to the ship and messing around with black holes. We don't want them messing around with that.
So, what do we want to do then, folks?
I didn't even actually think of that. They might be the reason why there actually is a black hole. I was actually just thinking they were taking advantage of whatever happened here, but that's a different spin on things. That's kind of just. That's quite a threat if they've got something that can turn a star into a black hole.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they are. It's just
It is the line of thinking I hadn't thought of, and just went,
All right. So, who wants to go next? Does somebody want to go to try and defend the Bifrost Drive?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah, I'll swap out with Lenny.
I'll use pheromones on them.
I was going to use a scar on them and go out all out shooting and hope for the best.
or you just grab a batleth and just start shouting, "Remember, Kev."
So who's going?
Cool.
I heard Webby wants to take Andrews. I heard Davis wants to take Vibers. I even heard Mike say he wants to take Ori. So, who's doing what? Is the captain going to go defend the Bifrost Drive?
Can we cope without the captain on the helm at the moment?
Yeah, if you activate Lenny, you can have Lenny on the helm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need a captain more than we need a science officer.
Oh. Alright, sacrificing yourself for the greater good.
Hey!
Chances are why we're still alive at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell, both Ori and the captain can go if they really want to. Final decision then. Are Ori and or the captain going to defend the Bifrost Drive on Deck 9?
Or I would go, as long as he's allowed to. He's got pheromones.
He's got pheromones. He's gonna try and what's the word?
It helped before in a mission.
Did? I'm not saying it didn't, but he's seriously gonna try and seduce the Nausicans.
It doesn't have to be
He's
seduction.
already been
Well,
activated,
no, that's a good
but,
point.
Pheromones can elicit various responses.
Alright, so far, Mike is the one who's stepping forwards, so Webby... Is Andrews going as well?
Yeah, I'd probably say she would.
Alright, so activating Lenny. Lenny can take the helm. So, Andrews steps to one side, as does Ori. Alright then, let's take you both to defend the Bifrost Drive. So, like I noted, you will have a security team sent there already to give you assistance. So,
I'm going to need a huge fan put there, and Ori's going to stand.
He's going to waft his pheromones at them.
Turn side to side with his arms up.
So
It almost sounds dirty.
Well, everything sounds dirty with Ori, but that's probably because it is. Let me take the security officers off. You don't need all of those.
It's not like
Go on. It's not like.
not like they're humans.
Right. So, yes, Andrews and Ori and the security team arrive on Deck 9 and go to the Bifrost Drive, where they find 4 Nausicans currently scanning the thing, and they turn around with a bit of a, not exactly a shocked look on their face, but they look like they are ready to at least run interference whilst the others continue to scan. How well are the Navis crew going to be able to defend their ship and stop the Nausicans getting away with more scavenged tech? Are the Nausicans indeed responsible for the black hole, in which case they have seriously stepped up their game if this is the case? Is it on a whim, or are they looking to sell this stuff to the highest bidder? And what is in fact going on with the ship trapped in the gravitational pull of the black hole? Unfortunately, we will have to answer all of these questions next week because we've run out of time.
Same bat place, same bat channel.
Yes.
That's his saying for the for his Pathfinders.
Same mat time, same mat channel, but nevertheless, yes. So, yeah, lot going on. Quite an action-packed episode, and it's still not over. But I'm pretty sure the Navis can overcome these odds. It's just a question of how long it takes them to do so. So, in the meantime, yes, thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you did tune in, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my players enjoyed this too. We will continue this next week, where I hope everybody is available.
Should be.
Yeah.
Mike, what is it looking like for your work at the moment?
I'm good for now, but I know I talked about it a little bit, but a position has come open that's Monday through Thursday, so I'd have weekends off with my family.
Right.
So, possible the next month or so, I might be moving to being off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I wouldn't be able to play during the week. So, I'm fine with you guys keeping him as an NPC, killing him, or whatever.
We're not going to kill Ori, but if necessary, and if you do need to switch times, then yeah, we'll see what we do. We'll see what we'll do.
Well, you've done that for me, and you guys are so amazing. This is one of the highlights of my week. Thank you.
Aww.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mike. It's been, it's been a real pleasure. So, here's to many more.
Yes.
I hope so.
You never know. Never say never. But for the meantime, we will earmark next week as the continuation of this episode. So come back and find us again if you want to see how this turns out. If you're watching this on YouTube, then please consider giving us, at the very least, a like so that we can appease our Lord and Master, the algorithm. Everyone say it with me. All hail the algorithm.
Hail the algorithm.
Because it helps not just us, but everyone who does actual plays of role-playing games and anything to do with Star Trek. Do like the Vulcans do, which is live long and prosper, and also engage in infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Look after one another, take care of one another, and let's hope that 2025 is a bit less insane than 2024 was, but the way it's starting up, I'm not sure that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the flip side. In the meantime, from me and the team, hailing frequencies are now closed.